In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. Welcome to another edition of Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man. I am your host and moderator, Brother Jackie Muhammad, and we have for you an exciting show for you today. A lot of information will be given, a lot of information will be heard. So we ask that you pay attention, Jock Nation, get involved, get into it. So before we get to our guests, I would like to introduce my comrades in this jovious occasion.
Come on.
let's bring up let's bring up my first brother, hard working brother, always trying to reach the top of the charts. These brothers want to be gods. And I love being around men like that want to do the best they can while we have this time. So let us bring up our brother Ahmed Bia. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Islam. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. We thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. It's another one of those shows where we are discussing health. Our health is such an important part of our personal lives, our community lives, and our families, our legacy. We have to start looking more into taking care of ourselves. So tonight is one of those shows. Please share, please subscribe and like the show, and just get in tune. Just get on board. We're trying to help each other. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Ahmed. All right, let's go to our next co-host, another hard-working brother, businessman, always trying to be the best he can in his environment. So family man, single father, so he's doing his thing. So let us bring up our brother and your brother Abdul Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family. Name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. There's no God but Allah. I'm this messenger. And thank you again for tuning into another episode of Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man. I've been waiting for this show for a couple of months now. Holistic practices. And so had a chance to interview this sister. She's going to be dynamite. But again, Jock Nation, thank you so much for tuning in, supporting like you always do. For those that always support the Jock Brothers, man, we thank you. Words can't express how much we thank you. And for those that has donated to the Jock Brothers platform, man, once again, thank you. Again, let's in this particular show right here, let's try to raise these numbers. And so if you could please, if you're tuning in, please share the show. And when you share it, those that receive it, please subscribe and hit the bell for future and upcoming shows. Of course, if you intend to continuously support the Jock Brothers, we thank you so much for that. And our information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Of course, we use Cash App as our means to transfer monies. And again, our Cash App information is $ Jock Bros. Again, it's $ JAKQ BROS. And of course, the Jock Brothers, we try to be more than just a podcast. We actually try to affect those around us. And what we try to do, one of the initiatives that we have going on right now is our prison initiative, in which we're trying to get the baddest, boldest, the finest newspaper to our incarcerated brothers and sisters across the country. And we're asking you to share in that endeavor. And so I always like to give you the totals. To get the Final Call newspaper behind bars to our brothers and sisters for 90 days is $18. And for 6 months is $30. And for the entire year is $60 donation. And if you intend to support our brothers and sisters behind bars in those endeavors, the Cash App information is at the bottom of the screen. And if you just put those dollar amounts in there that I just told you of, we'll know where those funds are going to. So again, $18 for 3 months, $30 for 6 months, and $60 for the entire year. So please support those endeavors. That's what I have, Brother Jackie. Back to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Jock Nation. I have the pleasure of introducing our wonderful guest tonight, Sister Sophia Hassan. She has a very, very extensive resume in which I will not go into every detail of it because I would like to talk about it during the show. There's a lot of information on here. She is a business owner. Indaya Center for Healing. Planned and executed successful health promotion campaigns, developed and implemented comprehensive marketing strategies, conducted market research to understand her customer needs. She's also a 501c Divine Deliveries, the Center for Reproductive Health and Childbirth. Definitely want to talk about that. Definitely needed conversation. We are losing a lot of sisters doing childbirth, and we definitely want to talk about how we can curb that. And also, she's a part of the Well Woman movement in NYC. For those who don't know, that's New York City. We just visited, and she's also a registered nurse. Um, our sister has a Master of Science degree as a nurse midwife, and she's also a certified nurse midwife. Um, her motto is, "This resume tells you what I've accomplished. However, the best version of me is emerging, and my greatest contribution lies ahead." So this is someone who does not get stuck on the accomplishment of past. She wants to do greater things, and she returned to school because she envisioned a world where every woman receives compassionate care and has a beautiful birth. She says, "I am an organized, optimistic, self-motivated, goal-orientated, and loving woman who is just crazy enough to believe she can make a difference." So with no more from myself, Jock Nation, let us receive and welcome. I want to introduce to some and present to others our sister, Sophia Hassan. Welcome to the Jock Brothers, Sister Sophia. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your platform, and the work that you are doing is helping the community. And so thank you for all that you do. As Brother Jackie was saying, I have been in the healthcare profession for over 2 decades. I've been a registered nurse, um, and I've run my own wellness business. And I have recently graduated from NYU as a certified nurse midwife. And I consider myself to be a student of life. Like, I'm always growing and learning and understanding. And my goal is simply to educate and share what I understand about um, the benefit of preventative health. And the goal is to really just encourage people to take control of their health and become empowered with knowledge.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, okay, let's. We're gonna we're not going in any order here, so bear with us. Why did you want to be a certified midwife? What was the motivating factor for that?
The Well Woman program that I created, which I launched in Brownsville, Brooklyn. I work with pregnant women, creating wellness service, providing wellness services to help reduce stress, because that's one of the things that can contribute to poor birth outcomes. And I did that. I started that in 2015, and in doing that work, I just saw so much um, that really was very frustrating. Poor birth outcomes, the high rate of maternal and infant mortality in the community, and it just was something that just really disturbed my spirit. And I felt like I wanted to do more. And in order for me to do that, I went back to school to become a nurse midwife.
So,
Now,
So,
I'm sorry. You was,
do our sisters suffer? You know, I know you just said that stress is like the main cause. So, is it stress during the pregnancy, or is it stress lead? You know, during the pregnancy, leading up to the birth, or stress during the birth itself, which is causing the mortality rate of our sisters or whatnot?
It's all of the above.
All of
You
them.
know, so if you are dealing with stress prior to becoming pregnant, of course, the pregnancy itself also has some stress involved. Your body is adjusting to creating another human being, and it's growing. And you have all of these adjustments and changes that are going on in your body that contributes to physiological stress. But you also have emotional and mental stress that can contribute to poor birth outcomes. But it's also more than that. It's so multi-layered because when you look at the comorbidities, things like obesity, diabetes, and hypertension, when you don't come to the pregnancy well, you're going to deal with more issues as you move forward. So we really should be focusing on preventative care for our women, and that's my main goal.
Uh,
I just wanted to know, was you seeing this in the hospital? Were you working in the hospital? Were you seeing all these births?
Mhm. So my experience as a registered nurse is in the NICU. And so for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's the neonatal intensive care unit. And there we deal with premature babies and sick babies. And so I was seeing a lot of the outcome
Okay.
of poor health and a lot of the things that are going on with pregnant women. And then I worked with pregnant women to create a wellness programs to reduce stress. So I was seeing a lot of what was going on.
mm.
Mhm.
Okay. So you in the hospital and your own private clients.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm wondering, you know, in the Nation of Islam, we have a protocol uh,
Mhm.
during the pregnancy, and I'm wondering, has America's system, has it changed? Has it improved at all? Have they changed their practices? You know, leading up to the pregnancy, or is it the same? You know, information, the same process that they give you, you know, since the 70s or 60s, or have they improved? Have they, I don't mean medically with the different machines they have and whatnot, but what I mean is the process. Has the process, you know, has it improved based on like the knowledge that you have? You know,
Mhm.
different things. Have they included different things like that in their process?
So there has been some improvement. I won't say that there hasn't been improvement, but unfortunately, we don't see that reflected in the birth outcomes, especially in our community. When you look at the statistics, and I don't really like to get into statistics because it takes you away from the human being and seeing the person that's directly involved. But
Mhm.
when you look at the statistics, you know, women of African descent have higher rates of maternal and infant mortality. And what we know is that one of the causes of that is racial disparities. You know, what is the stress of living in a hostile environment? You know, as an African American woman, every day you are faced with adversities because you are of African descent. That takes a toll on your body, um, and it could be um, high levels of cortisol. When you are stressed, you release high levels of cortisol that wreaks havoc in the body. So if you start from there, you know, that's a very major reason for the poor birth outcomes. But then when you also look at other things like food deserts, you know, lack of access to nutritional foods. You know, nutrition is very, very important when it comes to pregnancy. You need those nutrients to grow and develop those organ systems and even the IQ of the babies, all of that stuff. So you're looking at, you know, stress, you're looking at poor nutrition, and then we have comorbidities, and that is diabetes and hypertension. So all of those things together. It's not one thing. You really have to look at the person holistically, you know, and then also looking at their mental health. How are they being supported in their pregnancy? What is their relationship like? You know, are they being nurtured and cared for? Um, you know, are they able to take the time off for work that they need to care for themselves? It's so multi-layered. But one thing that we know for sure is that quality care that addresses all of those needs does improve the outcome.
I know when a woman gets pregnant, a lot of times they feel that they have a license to eat anything now, like all pregnant. So I'm just, I'm just, I'm just eating anything, and they just go.
Yeah. That's one of the concerns, a lot of times you say you're eating for two, and so people tend to double the quantity of food that they're eating, and you actually don't need to do that. That's something that we don't encourage. You do need to increase your caloric intake, but your provider will work with you and make sure that you're in the range of what's good for you, because every woman is different. If you're underweight, they're going to want you to eat more calories. If you're starting off overweight, they're going to ask you to reduce it, but they're going to work very closely with you, because even in the reduction, you need to have the nutrients that you take in. So I see it a lot in clinic where they do tend to give into their cravings, and they're eating a lot of non-nutritious foods. Their loved ones who are trying to nurture them and care for them, just want to feed you, and they bring you different things that they know you like out of love, but it doesn't benefit you to not be disciplined in your eating during pregnancy.
Let me ask you this, sis. Holistic. So kind of like a two-part question. So on one question, like what do a holistic life or lifestyle consist of? One.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is that and I know it's probably some people that's achieving it, but in your walk, your life, have you ran into many people that is achieving that holistic lifestyle that you're describing?
Well, everyone is at different stages. And when I'm doing my work, I believe you have to meet people where they are. And so I don't look for perfection. It's a process. And every day you're making a decision to be diligent about your health. And it is very holistic in nature. So it's not just eating, right? So it's mind, body, and spirit. What does your mental health look like? Are you working a job that you hate? That can cause a lot of dis-ease in the body, to be stressed and miserable every day because you hate your job. What does your relationships look like in the home with your family? Do you have a supportive and loving mate? Your relationship with your children. Then when we get to your food is big. It's huge, because a lot of times, in our community, is death by the fork. A lot of the things that we go through in life, as it comes in terms of our health, deals with our plate. So what you put on your plate is going to reflect your health, and so we look at that. But when I'm working with someone with their diet, I like to be conservative. I don't like to immediately just cross off everything on the list. Like, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't eat this, because that can be stressful in and of itself. We have to really try to understand, well, why are you overeating? If you don't understand that, you're not going to have success in your diet program. So if you're eating because you are lonely, just simply, are you overeating because you're lonely? Just simply trying to reduce your food is not going to work, because we're not addressing the issues. If you're depressed, or if you're someone who eats when they're stressed, if we don't address those issues, you're not going to have success in your diet program. And so we really try to look at everything holistically. How are you sleeping? If you're having trouble sleeping, that has an effect as well. So when we say holistic, it's all of that, the mind, body, and spirit. Are you staying in prayer? What are the things that you need to do to nurture your soul, and all of your needs being met? That's what well-being looks like.
Is there an order that you should, like, say, okay, I need to absolutely do this versus, okay, I can also work on this, but this is way more important? Is there an order that you go by in terms of?
it's all important, but again, you're going to meet that person where they are. If someone is really um, dealing with trauma and stress and they're overeating, the first thing you might say to them is, I want you to just increase your fluid intake, drink more water. And that may be the only thing I say to you, maybe for the first week or two, because I'm talking to you to help you work out what else is going on with you. So you could really have an understanding for, why am I doing this to myself? A lot of times it's very complex. If it was easy, we would all be doing it. We would all be the perfect weight. And yet most of us struggle with our weight. Some women have dealt with a specific type of physical abuse, and they will pile on the weight to redirect the male gaze, because to them, that makes them feel safe. This layer of fat that I put on, it makes me almost invisible. So you really have to understand your client. Why are you overeating? Why do you eat the whole package of donuts?
Wow, I never really thought about that.
Yeah, and then also education. Some people don't even understand what are the results of the choices you make. Whether I have this salad or have this donut. Some people just don't see like an immediate poor outcome to their choices. A lot of these diseases are long-term destruction before you actually get the diagnosis, where someone comes in and says you have hypertension. It's habits that you have been, almost for years.
Yes, ma'am. I want to talk about your business, Indaya Center for Healing. What is your business, and why did you start it during the time you was working in the hospital and whatnot? What was the motivating factor for starting that business, and tell us about that business as well?
Wow. So as a nurse, I always look at what I do as healing, someone who facilitates healing. And what I saw was a lot of, how can I explain this? Kind of trying to stop the bullet after you've already pulled the trigger, right? And so we look at the disease process at the end, and there wasn't a lot of prevention going on. And I felt like in our communities, especially, a lot of the diseases that we deal with are lifestyle choices that we make. And if we get ahead of the curve and we start educating and empowering and working with people, then we can avoid the diagnosis. And to me, that's better than sitting down working with somebody after they have diabetes. If we're working on your health all along, we've been doing your physical assessments, doing your blood work, looking at it and talking about it and saying, listen, you are still in range, but every year your number's going up. We can already see you're heading towards a diagnosis. Let's do something today and avoid that. So I'm passionate about prevention, preventative healthcare, especially in our communities, because we don't have to suffer. Frustrates me when I see dialysis centers open up and no health food stores in our community.
Right.
But Sister Sophia, my parents had it. My grandparents had it. What makes you think that I'm not going to have it?
Right, and I'm big boned.
It runs in my family. It's my aunt. Everybody has it.
So unless you have type 1 diabetes, let's say, which is an autoimmune disease, type 2 diabetes is a disease of consumption, right? So if your mother had it, it's not because she had it that you're going to get it. Is that you have the same habits that she has.
Come on, that's right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Way
That's
that
right.
she ate, and we have to stop this misconception that, well, what am I going to do? Everybody in my family has hypertension. You can rewrite your story, change the way you live in your life.
So with your business, you provided an array of wellness services.
Mhm.
Do you want to talk about some of the services?
Sure.
And
So we.
mm,
Mhm.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So we do wellness coaching. So a lot of what I do is some of what I explained to you. We talk to our clients and encourage them to make lifestyle changes, but we also provide support because again, it's not easy, right? Uh, People struggle and they have different reasons why they have poor habits. Some people, you know, um, may overindulge in alcohol when they struggle, and other people overindulge in food. It's still an addiction. So we work with the client to adapt their lifestyle to promote health, and what we do is one-on-one coaching
Mm.
that we do, and it's a lot of education, and again, a lot of support because most people know I probably should eat the salad, but there's other things going on that makes me make a different choice because I get an immediate feel good from the cookie. So I
Mm.
eat the whole box of cookies. I feel
Yeah,
good, you
yeah.
know.
Got to have that oatmeal race. don't do it, brother Jackie. Don't do it. Oh,
Yeah.
he did it.
And you have to be patient too because your taste buds need to
Yeah.
adjust. Your taste buds need to adjust because let's face it, like some of these comfort foods that we eat,
Mhm.
they
Mm.
taste good,
Mm.
and then we have memories attached to it. Boy, mom's mac and cheese, boy.
Mhm.
Every
Don't
time
even
she
go
makes,
there. Mm.
it just makes you
Mm.
feel good. But you
Mhm.
have to change your mind, change your attitude, change your taste buds, and it happens. It's gradual over time. But as you begin to, try different foods, you'll find that eventually you'll crave broccoli or the salad or the. I promise you. I
Mm.
promise you. I wasn't always a vegetable eater. I promise you, it happens.
I'm
Listen,
craving. I'm
Wait,
craving some
promise
squash.
you.
if I got an opportunity to get broccoli or that fried chicken,
Oh, that
am I
macaroni and
going for
cheese.
that broccoli, sisters?
Mhm.
That's where you are right now. That's where you are right now, and there's power in claiming where you are right now, but
Yeah.
there's also power in saying I want to be someplace else though. I want to live and I don't want to be debilitated. I don't want to have to go to a dialysis center 3 times a week. I want to play with my great grandkids, my great great grandkids, and I want to, have a vital life. I want to be able to walk on my own 2 feet and not be pushed around in a wheelchair. So you have to think about that sometimes. Yes, I can eat this. And when we're younger, our bodies adjust a little bit better. As
Mhm.
we start getting a little bit older,
Yeah.
not gonna happen. Not
So
gonna
it led you to create a line of personal care products. And what are some of the products that you was able to create?
So the personal care products came out of another motivation that I had. I actually suffered from eczema as a child,
Okay.
and no matter what products I would use on my skin, it just made it worse. I did not want to use chemicals or corticosteroids because these medications will treat one thing and cause another problem.
Mhm.
And so I began to really listen to a lot of elders that I had around me that were into herbs. And that was actually my journey into natural healing. And I just started doing a lot of research. I went back to school, I educated myself, and then I created a line of products that are natural and are beneficial to the skin and hair. And so that's where the product line came out of.
That's
Oh, okay.
beautiful. How old were you when that?
Oh my gosh. I suffered from eczema for as long as I could remember.
Mm.
For as long as I could remember. And I hadn't had relief until I had my product line, and I haven't had an outbreak in a very long time.
If you can explain to our audience what is eczema.
So eczema really is your immune system going crazy, and it has a hyper reaction to different substances. Like you might come in contact with something and immediately get a flare up in your skin. It's a very itchy rash. Some people get really thick and dark skin. It's quite unsightly. Um, and it can spread. Some people get breakouts when they're stressed. Some people could be allergic to tomatoes. It just depends on what's your trigger, and everybody has a different trigger. Some people it's milk, some people it could be shellfish, but you just break out
But it's in your skin. Oh, and that's
on
eczema.
your skin.
Eczema.
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 Okay.
That, when people have the really dark marks and they scratching. You see
Oh,
them scratching a lot. They have dark
listen,
marks on different parts of their body.
Yes, sir.
You
it
never,
is so,
you never seen
yeah.
it, Bobby?
You never seen it before?
You never seen that before?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I thought
I
eczema
just
was
didn't
just
know it
dry
was called
skin.
eczema. I just
Yeah.
I thought it was extremely dry skin.
yeah, something like that.
Well, having extremely dry skin can make it exasperated, you
Uh,
know. And we do tend to have very dry skin as well. But it's completely different. It's a flare, it's inflammation, and it's really horrific, very itchy. Yeah.
so holistic care.
Hmm.
Now I'm from Florida,
Hmm.
and and I would say that I would say that began, became popular down maybe late after all the different other parts of America. Florida, we last in a lot of things, but like I was telling the brothers, you know, from what I've noticed, if someone gets diagnosed with something, it's then that they go with the holistic care. And everyone I've seen, like especially dealing with cancer, and they want to run to holistic care at that time, and it doesn't work. Maybe they're too far along or whatever, but it kind of like turned me away from holistic care, to be honest with
Hmm.
you, and so I'm just wondering, is it a certain, what period should we start with holistic care? I mean, because what I've seen is after the diagnosis, okay, now I want to go, and now we're doing acupuncture, we're doing all these different herbs, like it's so much different things. I'm doing holistic now. So I'm wondering, what's happening? Are we waiting to the last minute? What's going
Hmm.
on?
Your attention to holistic care should start in the womb. So, from the time that you are being cultivated in your mother's belly, she should have a holistic mindset. It begins from the very beginning. Waiting until after the diagnosis um, is very challenging because, again, most of the time you have years of destruction before the diagnosis. A lot of these conditions have been um, kind of cooking, so to speak, before they really make an appearance. And so when you wait to the last minute, there's so much going on. It makes it so much more difficult to to restore your health. But it is so challenging. The standard American diet is garbage, right? So
Right.
we're eating poorly. We need to really support ourselves and community to make these lifestyle choices because it is challenging. But if we make them today and not wait for the diagnosis, you're going to have a better outcome. So we should, really in our families invest in each other's health and well-being, check on each other, support each other, you know, um, and get everybody on board, children, spouse, everybody on board. Not just a lot of times I see a person is diagnosed and it's like he can't have salt, but we are going to eat, and you have his plate and he has a celery on it, and then you're eating, however you're eating. The whole household should be thinking holistically about their health and just being supportive of one another. So it starts from the very beginning in the womb. That's the best place to start.
So it's more so like a culture. It can be a holistic culture. I mean, you can, if you can present it like that. But
Okay.
But
Okay.
you have people running to holistic when they don't want to take the medicine, the over-counter medicine.
That's what I was going to.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what's happening.
So I hear you saying it, that it's almost like a culture, but what we have to remember is that before all of this nonsense came along, um, the packaged foods, the GMOs, and that's what we were.
Right.
You ate from the earth, and there wasn't any processed foods. So it's really just going back to nature, just going back to what we know, what kept us well. It's the deviation from that has us being so sick. And again, it's very challenging because these processed foods taste good to the palate. So we just really have to change our mindsets and really become knowledgeable and have an understanding of the choices that you're making on your plate will affect your life.
So no more Chick-fil-A.
But, but
You
when,
have to.
when the doctor prescribes so as our diagnosis becomes severe and the doctor saying, hey, you need to take this medication,
Mhm.
do we take the medication and then wean off of it to start this holistic culture? Or do we, because everybody just say, I don't want to take the medication, I'm going holistic, but you're not dealing with the diagnosis.
So it depends on where you're at. So if we're able to again catch you before you have the diagnosis, a lot of times diet and exercise does work. And we're going to use diabetes for example. If you had a practitioner who was assessing your health every year, doing the physical, looking at your blood work, she would have caught your numbers slowly and steadily rising and said, listen, we need to do something. Your numbers will keep going up. You're not diabetic right now, but I see where you're heading. You know, after the diagnosis, you really want to do what you need to do to get your blood glucose in control because having excess sugar in the blood damages your blood vessels. What happens when you start getting damage to the blood vessels, the organs that need oxygen, that need nutrition, are not going to be getting that adequately, and you're going to have end organ damage. That's why you see people with diabetes. It destroys the blood vessels, and they have neuropathy in their lower extremities, and sometimes they need to get a limb amputated. My grandfather, may he rest in power, had his leg amputated from diabetes. Um, you'll see it, kidney failure, because the vessels that lead to the kidneys get damaged, and you'll see a lot of diabetes patients end up going to dialysis because they need to have their blood cleansed, and the kidneys are no longer doing that. You'll see a lot of men with erectile dysfunction because the blood vessels that supply the blood to the penis no longer are able to do that. Cardiovascular issues. You'll see a visual loss of vision. All of those things because you have excess sugar in the blood. So what you want to do, sometimes you need to take the medication to get it under control, right? If your numbers are high, you got to get the excess sugar out of your blood. Then you want a practitioner who's going to work with you and say, okay, you can say, I don't want to be on this drug for the rest of my life. I want to change my life. I want to change my health status. Can you work with me? Can you help me develop a plan? They should be having you sitting down with a dietitian who's going to say, listen, let's work on this. Um, these are the foods that you can eat. This is what you shouldn't be eating. And let's monitor your progress. They're going to have you monitoring your blood glucose. And as you go through the diet plan, sometimes they have to make justice. Yes. Dialysis center on every corner like liquor stores. Yes. And they make a lot of money from our poor decisions. Okay. So those are the things that you really want to do. Let them know I'm working on me. Like I haven't, decided that this is something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I want my health back, and they'll work with you. They'll sit with you and they'll come up with a plan But you have to find a practitioner who is willing to do that. And that takes work. And unfortunately, we do have lazy practitioners. They'll write the prescription and keep refilling it every time you come in.
Yeah, they get paid for it too as well. Now, how are you received in your practice? As a registered nurse, but then you practice holistically. How is that received in that arena?
Most people that come to me are looking to make a change. They want to be better. They want to change. They know that they are, when you are eating like that over a period of time, you start to feel fatigue and you can't really live life the way you want to because it's very difficult when you're malnourished, so people come, they're fed up. And they're like, I don't know what's going on with me, but I don't have energy. I feel down. Because also, let's talk about it. Junk food is um, promotes mental health disorders as well. Eating a lot of sugars, people deal with depression, anxiety, those sort of things. So you really want to be mindful of that. But most people that come seeking me out is because they want to change and they just need help. They just need support.
I'm so happy you came on the show today, man, because my outlook on holistic medicine is totally different than what you are explaining. I always thought holistic was like just an alternative like medication or way
Right.
to deal with something versus what. So like to say the doctor may say, hey, you got asthma, take this albuterol. Well, holistically, you might say no. Boil the seaweed, go put some chicken feet. I'm just being funny. Boil it and drink this juice.
Seaweed and chicken feet, huh?
But that's what I always thought. And the reason I thought that as well is because when Dr. Sebi, for instance, I think he's really known for, I guess, curing those like really like the diseases that are really like the cancers. I've heard that, or if you take this, do what Dr. Sebi say, in turn, eat nothing but fruits for 3 weeks in a row and get your rest. Your cancer will go away. I'm not. I don't know his remedies, but I always thought that was holistic versus a lifestyle of holistic.
Right.
And you can't
lifestyle change. Right.
Well, Dr. Sebi did promote lifestyle. Like his protocol wasn't for just in the moment when you were facing diagnosis. The goal was to make the changes for a lifetime. Like his protocols were to help you eat like that for life, not just in the moment. And that really is the only way that it works. And it seems like a lot right now. But when you adjust, I promise you feel so much better. You feel so much energetic. You feel good. You feel lighter. You're able to move. You will, with help, stick with it. You'll see the changes.
But I guess what I'm getting from you is you're saying that once these like terrible diseases hit, like say cancer or something, you're really too late. This is something you should have been doing all along.
I don't say it's too late. It's more difficult. It's more challenging because you have worn out your bodies a lot of times. On the outside, you may not see the destruction that's going on, but it's there. So a lot of times when you have years of poor eating habits and poor lifestyle choices, when you do get to the diagnosis and you then want to turn around and change the way you eat, it's not impossible, but it is more challenging.
So holistic, the way you're describing it, is more preventive maintenance versus I messed up. Can you help me the natural way versus taking these, getting this operation? That's what you.
So I am an advocate for prevention, but I do work with people that have their diagnosis already. One of the benefits of my educational background is that I blend science with traditional holistic practices. And so, science and spirituality comes together and we work on your healing. But I'm able to, do blood work, look at it with you, and I help you read your own blood work so you can understand what's going on with you. Because my goal is for you to be empowered and not to be dependent on a healthcare provider completely, because you are the one who's ultimately making the decisions about your health. So if you could read your lab work and know what's going on with you and ask questions and be an advocate for your own self, that's better. And so, yes, you can do it after the diagnosis, but of course, it's always better to start before.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, I think I was in the same dilemma with Brother Kyle. Really trying to understand what is holistic. Is it,
Mm,
what is it exactly? And I think I have a better understanding now as well. So okay, so now it seems that so like if someone is watching right now, all right, you want to
mhm.
make a lifestyle change, go get some lab work. Go get your everything checked out, your blood work. Go get your blood work. That's what you're recommending first, and then that's the
I
first step.
Yeah, I do recommend that you have a full assessment so that you can know what's going on. A lot of people don't know. Like you might have diabetes or hypertension and don't know it, or some of the issues that you might be dealing with might be related to something and you don't even know. Like you might be challenged with infertility and don't have a clue that you have an underlying health condition and that's why you can't get pregnant. Or it could be you really do need to have that assessment because that's going to tell you a lot. It's going to give you a lot of information, and let you know where you are and where you need to go.
And then we really need to deal with how this society has made us think that
Mhm.
even we're taught in the book How to Live that the food is the medicine. Herbs,
Mhm.
these are the medicine. How does this society have us thinking that holistic is nothing but herbs, is extracting the herbs and the vitamins and the minerals and monitoring your health without dealing with a healthcare provider? How is this society making us think that it's voodoo? it's it's
Man,
foreign.
right.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
I don't think it has ever been really explained. The
Mhm.
presentation of it is always, for me, has been in bits and pieces. Like I say, I always hear about it after someone has been diagnosed, and then okay, they died. All right, you was on holistic. So now I'm like, well, dang, is it worth it? Is it good? But see, so I'm understanding now. For me, the way I take it, like it's a lifestyle
It's
change
a lifestyle.
at the beginning. You go and get your assessment, and okay, let's go ahead and make these changes
Mhm.
instead of macaroni and cheese. I'm gonna get some squash. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Mhm.
Instead of a steak and cheese, I'm gonna get an eggplant sandwich. I seen one. It was in L.A. It was
Listen,
listen. It was an eggplant sub, bro.
but it
Eggplant
tastes
cheese,
good.
and it was
It really
good.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
And you have to be patient with yourself too. Like slowly start to move away from the unhealthy food. For a lot of people, they may not be able to just get rid of everything, but slowly start. If you start increasing the amount of vegetables on your plate and decreasing the other stuff, eventually you will get there. So be patient with yourself. You develop these bad habits over a period of time. It's going to take some time to develop these good habits.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
All right, Jock Nation. We have reached that point where it's time for our commercial. So you are listening to our Sister Sophia Hassan, Holistic Medicine. She's the owner of Indaya Center for Healing. She's also a part of the Well Woman movement, registered nurse. She has a array, a plethora of functionality. So definitely, she's giving us
Mhm.
and holistic approach to living a better life. So, but before that, let's go ahead and deal with our commercial. Let's bring on our brother Kyle. Abdul.
Abdul.
Praise be to Allah. But thank you, Jock Nation. First of all, I'd like to just thank our sister Sophia for the information she's given us, for like correcting us, at least it corrected me on what I thought holistic to be. So once again, thank you for tuning in. Please share this program so we can get the correct information out. And please encourage your friends to subscribe and hit the bell. Also, the Jock Brothers, we're all youth mentors, and we always thinking of new ways to try to help the youth. And so we ask you to, again, support us in our endeavors to do that. Our Cash App information is at the bottom of the screen. $ Jock Bros, JAKQBROS. And of course, we all are businessmen. We all have our own businesses. I want to showcase the first, our brother Ahmed. Oh, well, let's showcase me.
Always call we first.
Oh, yes, sir. So I'm your local realtor. I'm your brother that's ready to serve you in this capacity. I try to make the experience fun and educational for you. I do specialize in commercial properties and residential, but I do have, I am getting a lot stronger in farmland for those that want to like get land purchases and, in productive farmland at that. So please give your brother a chance. Let me serve you. My number is 404-671-5681. So that's Brother Kawi. The next brother we're going to showcase is our brother Ahmed Bia. This brother here, he had the opportunity to go on open mic last week and read his book to the open mic line. They absolutely love the content of the book. I heard it for the first time. I absolutely loved it. Please support our brother.
Did you know about that book, Doctor?
Oh, yes, I've heard of this book.
Oh, you heard of it? You mean you don't have one?
I don't have one.
Astaghfirullah.
Yes.
But guess what? Guess what, Doctor? Since you've been on our show, I'm going to send you a signed copy for your You got grandchildren?
I do.
I'm going to send you a signed copy for your grandchildren.
Oh, man, I get a signed copy as well, sir, for myself.
Okay.
No,
Let me just correct you. I am a midwife, not a doctor.
Yes.
So please support our brother in his endeavors. And from what I understand, he has more books, another book coming out, or more books coming out in the next few months. Please support him. You can go to www.bipublishings.com, or you can pull his book up on Amazon and support our brother. Anything else you want to add to that, Brother Ahmed?
There's a in the red at the bottom, you see $ BI Enterprise. $BI Enterprise. We're building a mass enterprise of businesses and collaborations. So if you want to support that, you can cash up that as well.
All need 10%.
All praise due to Allah. The next brother that we want to showcase is, of course, the host and moderator for the night, our brother Jackie Muhammad. He has his own business called Supreme Waste Removals. He actually have cans that you can rent from him for various reasons. You can reach him at this number here, 404-957-7639. Support the Jock Brothers and our endeavor. Anything you want to add to that, Brother Jackie?
Yes, you said cash, but it's dumpsters. This dumpster rental service. If you need a dumpster in the Atlanta area, definitely give us a call.
I stand corrected. Dumpster rental services. Please reach our brother Supreme Waste Removal. Support the Jock Brothers and our endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Kawi.
Oh, go
Okay.
ahead, brother.
I want to get one in.
Go ahead.
Anytime I get with these health shows, I always got to ask these doctors this, and I hope this is not an uncomfortable question for you, but I asked another doctor this before. Like I said, when you go to the gas station, they're always showcasing all of these like little sex drugs. the Gorilla 3000. They got the Cialis out now. They got the Hims. They got the Viagras. Clearly, they're showcasing these drugs like this because there is I guess, an epidemic of brothers want to perform better with their mates, and the last doctor we had on here said this is just a sign that people are very unhealthy, and that's why they need this type of assistance. Can you please talk on this subject, and if there are interventions, healthier interventions, please talk on that as well.
Okay, so a lot of times when you have erectile dysfunction, that is a symptom of a cardiovascular issue that's going on in your body, right? So to get a proper erection, you need to have blood flow. What happens is you can have damaged blood vessels from things like diabetes and hypertension. You can have hyperlipidemia, and what that is, you have very high cholesterol levels, and the cholesterols block the vessels and prevent the blood from going through. So anything that prevents the blood from entering the penis is going to cause issues. And you can take these pills and the Viagra, but they are temporary fixes. And they also have other issues, like you can have impaired vision, um, impaired hearing. You can have a prolonged erection. There's a lot of setbacks and adverse reactions to those drugs. You really, there are some things that you can do, but what you really want to do is get a workup, because what you don't want to do is have a cardiovascular event, like a heart attack or a stroke. That is, and a lot of times, the reason why you see the erectile dysfunction first is because those vessels are smaller. So that might be your first sign that you have a much bigger issue, And again, what are you eating?
Look.
Hold on, brother Ahmed. You said you want to first thing get what did you say? Workout?
Workup.
No, workup.
Workup.
Yes, it's very likely associated with a cardiovascular issues.
What is a workup?
What is a workup?
Like a physical, right?
Blood work. They can do a stress test on you where they put you on a monitor and let you work out and see where you, if you have any cardiac arrhythmias. They can do an EKG. They can do blood work to see what your cholesterol level is. They could do a HA1C, which is the test that they do to check if you have diabetes. They could screen you for hypertension. All of those things could be aligned or associated with erectile dysfunction. It can also be stress. If you're having stress in your relationship, stress at work, it's mental, again, holistic health. So it could be a number of things, but a lot of times it is related to a cardiovascular issues.
Let me ask you something about that Viagra though. So, some of these brothers are dying now, and we find them in the bed or at home. If they take Viagra and they have a heart attack, when they're diagnosed at death, they're just saying it's natural causes, or what are they saying? Hey, this guy took Viagra. Are they? Are they? Is it something that you see in the hospital that this person died because of heart attack, or died of heart attack because they took Viagra?
Well, Viagra does have adverse effects to it. I can't say, without knowing the case specifically, if that's what did it. But again, if you have erectile dysfunction, it's most likely because you already have cardiovascular issues, and then the act of intimacy is physical, right? If you're not physical any other time in your life, but when you go into the bedroom, it's a lot of stress on your heart. And, that can cause you to have a heart attack, so you do want to, again, get a workup and see what's going on. You don't want to just take the quick fix pill so that you can have an erection for today. You want to make sure you live in for tomorrow. There are some natural things you can do as well. So nitric oxide is a substance that helps to open the vessels and dilate them and relax them. You'll find that in beet juice, actually.
Beet
You know,
juice.
Ugh,
beet juice.
my grandma used to eat beets, beet
Well,
juice. And,
I got brothers finna be buying beats all over the place now, bro. He's about to go out of business.
oh.
Yeah,
All right. So now,
it'll work as long as it's not a blockage.
Right, right. Right.
so I want to go to the back to the well woman movement.
Mhm.
Do our sisters participate in these type of functions? You know, really, you know, I'm listening to you. You know, and I'm saying this is real Planned Parenthood. You know, really. Okay, let me see if I'm in shape to even, you know, go through this process of having a baby and whatnot. Let's
Absolutely.
look at that first. Let's
Absolutely.
look at our numbers. Let's look at, you know, that's Planned Parenthood, you know, and
Mhm.
that never had, you know, I haven't seen that, you know, so
So that's something we want to encourage: preconception care, really working with the woman and making sure that you are healthy for this pregnancy. And the challenge that we do have is, unfortunately, a lot of women don't come in to get that kind of care. A lot of times you see them when they're pregnant. And so, as providers, what we have to do is every time we see a woman of reproductive age, we should be looking at her entire health status and looking to see if there's anything that needs to be addressed. Is there anything going on that will complicate the pregnancy, and talk to her about family planning? For instance, if she had hypertension, we would look at that and say, listen, that is a very intensive risk factor for poor birth outcomes. Let's work on getting your blood pressure normal before you become pregnant. And maybe we are delaying pregnancy until she can get her health together. It's better for her, it's better for the baby. And so the Well Women program was a program that I did with the Department of Health in Brooklyn. And we provided things like prenatal massages. We did prenatal yoga. We also did meditation workshops. And I taught infant massage as well. So we were working on really reducing stress, because that was a lot. One of the things that we saw a lot in that particular community was high levels of stress. And so in doing the workup, it's not just, where you at with your nutrition or looking for comorbidities, but it's how you feeling. Like, are you mentally stable? Are you well? And a lot of times, what people don't realize is that when you have joy in your life and you are living a purposeful life, pursuing your passions, and you are that's well-being too. So a healthy relationship. If you don't have that, that's extremely stressful to be pregnant and you don't have the support of, your partner.
I,
And
I, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Now, along on that line, I think I asked you about this before, about fibroids and the way that they're cutting the maternal system out of our women. It's just like becoming more and more prevalent, but I'm seeing it in younger and younger women now. I have fibroids, I just got to cut out. And I'm like, I mean, we're saying it nowadays just like it's nothing. And they're just getting it torn out. Well, I just can't have babies because I have fibroids and they cut it out. I'm like, is this new? Like, is there something else that we're seeking to do? Is the conversation being had with women and younger women, or is just fibroids something that, hey, we just got to deal with? And once you get a certain age, you're gonna have fibroids and you're just gonna get your system cut out. It's just part of life.
Well, a lot of the issues that women deal with in their reproductive systems deal with estrogen dominance, and fibroids is one of those issues that are associated with estrogen dominance. And what that means is there's a hormonal imbalance where there's too much estrogen in your system, and that could come from a lot of things. Sometimes it's our diet. We're eating these meats that have that hormones in it, that they inject hormones into these to chicken and beef to make them grow bigger and produce more milk. And so we get hormones from our produce. So the proteins like poultry, meat, dairy products, we can get extra estrogen that way. If we are dealing with obesity, what we know is that you are going to have excess estrogen because there are enzyme that changes androgen hormones to estrogen in your fat cells. And so if you're obese, you're going to have excess estrogen. And so there's a lot of reasons why you might have excess estrogen in your body. And so when they cut out these fibroids, unfortunately, they're not solving the problem. What a lot of women don't know is that's not a solution. You know, that's a quick fix to just, and I get it because sometimes women deal with a lot of issues when they have fibroids, the extra bleeding, painful menses, and so they just want it to stop. And a lot of times, you know, the doctors will say, well, listen, let me just take out the fibroid, let me just take out the uterus, and it does not solve the problem. If your problem is estrogen dominance, you're still going to have the problem.
Yeah, everybody just want to go to finest restaurants now. That's all. Oh, we're gonna eat out. We just eating out all the time. Just let's go to a restaurant. Nobody's really looking at their eating habits and correlating this with all the cancers and these different things that's happening to us today.
So what exactly is a C-section? And when does it become necessary?
Okay, so a C-section is when instead of the baby being born vaginally, they make an incision most times in the lower abdomen to extract the baby. And it's usually done in emergency situations where the baby is becoming distressed and the doctor makes a decision to extract the baby immediately to save the baby's life. And so sometimes it's necessary. It's debatable if every single time it happens, if it was necessary. You know, this is where you have to really look into what kind of provider you have and what their, you know, practice is, what they, the kind of plan of care they're going to have for you, and talk about it. You know, you want somebody who understands that you might want a natural birth. Midwives are excellent for supporting the natural process of birth. And so you really need to think about that when you're choosing a provider, if that's what you're looking for.
Are doctors getting extra money for doing C-sections?
So it is more expensive to have a C-section, right? Because you're paying for the OR. Now you have more providers caring for you, more staff caring for you. So it is more expensive to have a C-section. You know, and of course you do get paid more for doing that procedure. You know, you really want to make sure that you are working with a provider that you can trust and who is going to support you and having the birth that you desire. I'm sorry.
No, brothers, did y'all just get my question? You on mute, Kawi.
No, I got it. It's the doctors getting paid for C-sections.
Right. Did you get that, Jackie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ain't that something?
That's
Just cut up because everybody's going to get paid on
yeah,
this.
we're gonna get a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to pay for this car. Yeah,
Oh man, come on.
it's
That
serious.
sometimes it is necessary.
No,
You know,
I'm not saying it's not. Sometimes, yeah, but
They used to. It was at one time you couldn't be in there during the process. But I was in there and and it was they grabbed my son by the leg.
So what was the emergency in your case?
I don't know.
You don't know.
there wasn't in my two sons. There was no emergency. The doctor
And
just was like, no, there wasn't. Absolutely not. He just like, we're just going to do a C-section, and then she had a third one even after, and we all started looking around like, hold on, this is just not. And she was perfect. She had no problems. but the doctor we just gonna have a C-section until we stopped. Like, no more.
What made
No
you ask
more.
that question, Ahmed?
Sir?
But what motivated that question? If do the doctors get more?
Because I wasn't sure, and I know she works in a hospital, so I just wasn't sure. It was said, and we alluded to it when we were dealing after she had a second birth. We had a discussion about it, and then we had to learn, just like Dr. Achilles said, that we have power now. So when we meet with these doctors, if we're going to no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not getting these shots. We're not having a C-section unless it's an emergency. We have the power now to sit with these providers and tell them this is what we're going to. And these are meetings that we have before the birth. No, this is what I need blood work. And this is what I need. And this is what I want. We're going to have a birth, and this is how we want the birth to go.
Right.
We're telling the doctor that, and we have that right and that power, not just coming in and allowing the doctors to tell us what to do, and we just nearly will go wrong with anything.
Absolutely. You have the right to ask questions when you go in, and even in that point when they were going to do the C-section, what's the indication? We have to educate ourselves so that you know what questions to ask. What is the indication for the C-section? What's the risk benefit? What if I say no to the C-section? What are the risks involved? And you have to really stand up for yourself. And we have the responsibility to explain to you every single thing that we do. It's called informed consent. You have a right to know what is going on, and you have a right to make choices, and you're signing consent. That means you sign off that you understand what was explained to you and you are agreeing to this procedure. Always ask questions. If you don't understand, if they're using medical terms, which they like to do a lot, and you don't understand, don't be ashamed to say you don't understand what that means, because we're supposed to explain it in lay terms. And so if they're running off in the mouth and you don't, I'm sorry, excuse me, can you explain what does that mean?
Right.
You know,
at the end of the day, we need our own. I mean, bottom line,
we just need our own.
On that, bro.
Now let me ask you something about okay, we're dealing with your 501 divine deliveries. I heard you mention earlier natural childbirth. So what's the difference? Is it you have a pool, you're doing it underwater? Is that natural childbirth? Is it not in the hospital? Like what's the difference between natural childbirth, or what is natural childbirth compared to the birth that we are used to in the hospital or whatnot?
So really, natural childbirth is what your great-grandmother did, your great-great-grandmother did before there were hospitals, right? The body knows exactly what to do to support the process of giving birth. And we are just supporting women in that natural process without interfering. If there's no medical emergency or reason to intervene in the process, hands off, you don't do it. The only thing you're doing is supporting and making sure she's in a safe process to give birth, and we nurture you through the process. Most women who desire a natural birth are not using pain medication. They are using their mind and their breath to guide them through the process. And we don't intervene. We're there to support and facilitate the birth. But mom is really she's the star of the show. She's doing the work. She is allowing her body to do what it's naturally intended to do, which is give birth to children. We've been doing it for centuries. Like, this is not a new thing. What is new is all of these interventions. And I'm not going to say that none of the medical advancements have benefits. They do, because we are getting each generation is getting sicker. Like we just talked about, all of these comorbidities, right? So sometimes we do need support and the intervention of these advanced technologies, but most times we don't.
And as a midwife, are you able to like if I was having a child with a woman, and we wanted to do it ourselves, and we said, "Would you come and help us?" Would that be a possibility? Would you just did help and guide us through the process?
So
Or
it's what we call a home birth, and midwives are absolutely, allowed to do home births where they come in and we do monitor you. So just like you have prenatal visits in the hospital or the clinic, if you are working with a midwife, whether it be in a home birth setting or she has a birthing center or the midwife works in the hospital, we do assess you every month, right? We do the prenatal visits where we're checking on you because there are things, even though it's a natural process, there are things that we are going to check as you go along to make sure you're okay. We're going to make sure you don't have any infections. We're going to make sure you're not gaining too much weight, that the baby is growing adequately. We're going to check all of these different things. We're going to look for genetic disorders. We are going to make sure you're getting adequate nutrition, that you're not anemic. We might be supporting you because you're having some symptoms, like you may be experiencing extreme nausea and vomiting, and we're going to make some recommendations to alleviate those symptoms. So we are very active in your care. It's not as if we're like, we don't do anything but show up and catch the baby. We are assessing you throughout the pregnancy to make sure you and baby are well. And then when you go into labor, we support the process, and we are very heavy on education and support. And so midwives are who you want to call on if you are looking to have a natural birth.
what genetic disorders? How you find out about genetic disorders?
Blood work.
So you're trying to say that some people, when my child turned 2 or 3, we see they were a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
We could catch that in the blood work?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, look, we are at the close. We at the closing words. So, man, it's been very informative. Very, very informative. I started having children at 19, man, and I should have known this when I was 16 and 15, man. It's crazy,
Yeah.
But all right, so our sister Sophia definitely gave us a lot of information to go and chew. So with that, would you please give us your final words?
Okay. So if you are looking to get some support for your wellness journey, you can log on to my website, which is india.com. My business is the India Center for Healing. And you can also go on to Divine Deliveries Center for Reproductive Health and Childbirth if you're looking for women's health care specifically. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you guys so much for having me on your show. Support the Jacko Brothers. They are doing their thing. And we need them.
The Jacko Brothers.
Wait. What was the other? What was the website? We don't have the website up.
Yeah, Divine Deliveries.
Oh, Divine Deliveries,
Divine Deliveries.
is divine-deliveries.com.
Yeah, I don't know. Our engineer, he was
What's that?
he was in the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, man.
Are we putting it up there?
We waiting on the engineer. We talking health, and I'm telling you, he at home eating the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, man. I'm telling you.
Is that a website? The Divine Deliveries.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, divine-deliveries.com.
I wonder if the engineer know what the hyphen is.
I might need to help this engineer.
It's the same thing that's between the N and the D on it.
Oh,
let
Yeah.
me help this engineer, man.
how about just a dash? The hyphen is
Oh my goodness.
just a dash. What?
Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go.
I apologize.
Yes.
There All right, Divine Deliveries. All right,
Okay.
so if you in this is for those who are maybe needing a midwife. Is that correct?
Yeah, any kind of women's health issues.
That's what I'm saying.
DivineDeliveries.com.
How about the sister just want to call you and talk? How about the brothers?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
brothers
counsel.
might just want to
Right.
call you and have a
But
conversation.
have a counseling session. Or
Yeah.
whatever. So is this the information you want them to?
India Center for Healing for the
India.
brothers. Divine Deliveries is just women's health.
Just women's health. Okay. So for the brothers, India, and then for the sisters, Divine Delivery.
Yeah, we all need that education. We have single fathers here, you know, that are raising daughters that
Yeah, but
they don't know how to.
They're not having no babies though.
Huh? No, that's what I'm saying. They bringing up daughters and they don't know how to have that conversation.
Yeah. I was that definitely.
Well, yeah, man. Like daughter, they don't know what to say. Their daughter get their period and they don't know what to say.
My daughter got her menses at 9. I never will forget it, man.
Yeah.
I had to turn over to my mom and sister, but I didn't know. I mean, taking a 9-year-old to walk, buying. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I understand.
Yeah, it was a lot. Okay, brother Ahmed, you are very vocal in this.
I'm just, I'm a science head, man, and I just know how far we're behind as a community, man. It just kills me.
Me too.
It really kills me, and we're really not getting better. We're not. We're not. The music, our culture is the children are now saying that they don't care. The women are turning to women. The men are turning to men. The culture is just going. Nobody cares. No more the music, the rap, it's just whatever, and nobody's stopping to say, maybe we can do better. I'm not saying nobody. So we still pushing that. But when you look at the masses, it's just like, look. So these conversations, man, they really make me really want to do more. They really make me want to set up centers like they doing these dialysis centers. We set up a dialysis
centers.
Money.
Wellness center, right?
Yes. Just the wellness center. We used to have a doctor in my neighborhood, Dr. Abraham. Everybody went to him. He was the known doctor in the neighborhood, but everybody went to him, and you can get an honest opinion from him. He would tell you, he would give you honest assessments, and it was just so good to have him there. He's gone. So now you're subject to just go to the hospital and get whatever.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah. I was born in a Jewish hospital, and they respected certain things that we came with as Muslims. We don't want this, we don't want that. And they respected it.
Yeah.
Because it was a Jewish hospital. So they said, okay, that's fine. You don't want this, you don't want that, you don't want the shots, you don't want this. They respected it. Mm-hmm. Today, it's a different story. But if we could focus on opening up counseling sessions like this sister has, just so somebody could come in and talk to somebody. I mean, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. I just want to talk to somebody about my health, about my wife's health, about my mom, about my daughter, about my son, and get an honest opinion. What can I do? What can I give him instead of giving him something from CVS or Walgreens that can help him? He's not breathing well tonight. What can I do that I can give him? A tea, a herb. It's very simple. It's so simple. And this is holistic practices. What can I give him to help him get through tonight? We'll give him this or give her that. Mm-hmm. And then start her on a journey. Oh, man, you talking about Planned Parenthood. Who's doing that for their children right now? Mm-hmm. And we all have children. Who is sitting there saying, I want my child, we're going to bring our child to a medical center and start them on a journey? Yeah, we want to give them good credit. We want to get them a college education. But who's saying, I'm taking my child to see someone like this, sister, so we can start them on a journey,
That's right.
a portfolio of health and wellness, not credit, not money, not college, not a new car when they get 16, a Benz, or they sweet 16 party. No, I want to get them a portfolio that I'm looking at every year. My son just turned 15. What? 16? What? 17? 18, son, I think you should start. Maybe you should eat. We want to start getting you to the doctor twice a year. We want to check your blood work. Is any of us doing that as parents?
Right.
And this is serious. So, but we expect everybody else to just. And the sister is giving us the knowledge and information. How do we have how to live? We have all these tools, but we are not coming together. Our unity is our success. We are not coming together. You're a parent. All of us are parents, and we're just left to deal with our children on our own. And we're not coming together as a community. We're not. We're not, but we'll talk about each other. You see his daughter, or somebody's son just died, or their daughter just got pregnant, but we're not coming together to assess the problems and the issues and make it better. So let's promote this sister. Everybody who's watching, promote this sister, call her, let's get some advice. Let's open up our minds. Let's help our children. Maybe we missed the boat. Maybe we're suffering from cancer. Maybe we're suffering from diabetes. Maybe we're suffering. Let's get our children a chance. Let's give us a chance. It's still not too late.
Absolutely.
It's not too late. Sister, put the website up. Let's promote it. Please watch the show. Let's get our community back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Brother Kawi.
Yes, sir. I mean, after Ahmed exhibition, man, I think I need to just say assalamu alaikum. No. Sisters, that's just a testament to how effective you was on this show today. How informative you were. That's that. And you clearly hit him into a point where he felt that passionate and went down hard for your support. So I kind of knew how we was going to get this type of effect from you when I talked to you the other day. Very knowledgeable. I really like the fact that you took up this lane. This is a lane that is very seldom talked about. We get all the other, professionals, the medical professionals, the dietary professionals to come on the show and give us their take. But this was a different take. You really clear it up. What holistic? At least for me, what holistic is, and I guess how you should approach it. And I mean, I don't know where to start. I mean, so calling you, texting you is, I guess that is the start, as Ahmed was saying. Just get the ball rolling. Let's get emotion doing something. So
We'll get a workup.
get a workup. You hear right? You hear right? Beat
Get that
juice.
blood work.
Beat juice.
Blood work. Come on.
Mind, body, and spirit. Mind, body, and spirit.
That's right. So thank you for again. And I really would like to bring you back at some point, maybe, so that we can I guess tackle other issues and clear up other myths. So thank you for the time you spent with us, sister. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
All right, Jock Nation, we have been thoroughly fed. We definitely want to go further. Like Brother Ahmed said, let's pass this information down. Let's not hold on to it. Let's not take for granted that going forward, everything is just gonna fall in place on its own. We have to put it in place. So we you know, our people die for the lack, suffers for the lack of knowledge.
Come on, man.
That's right. That's right.
And we have been, you know, given a lot of knowledge that we should share with
Right.
one another to make sure that, you know, we are well informed, that we and you know, and those of you that desire to be parents and you're not a parent, I mean, this is real planned parenthood. You know, this is you know, and it starts with self. You know, see where you are, get yourself diagnosed, you know, see where your mental state is, your physical state, you know, and address these things, and then, you know, plan, you know, to bring in a healthy child in this godforsaken world.
Have that talk at the dinner table. That dinner table.
Yeah, that dinner table. That's right. That's where the debriefing goes on
Yeah, man.
every day.
How's
So-
your health? How's your health?
Mm-hmm.
How you ask your child that? How is your health?
Yeah. and our sister will help explain what do you call it when you the lab work, you know. So
Oh.
she-
Okay.
yeah, the
The
lab,
blood work.
the blood work. Yeah,
Yeah, we
that's
should definitely do a show. We come back and we just go over the different labs, like, because I think it is important to be educated and know what's going on with your health. Yes, you want to be talking with your provider, but you should have a level of knowledge of your own that you understand, so that you can make decisions and you can advocate for yourself and say, I want this, I don't want that. I want you to help me with this. But you have to know first. Education is power.
How many
I like
items? How many items is on that list when they do a blood work on you? How many items is on
A
there?
lot.
yeah.
It's, you know, but it's necessary, and we can
Yeah.
go through what they are and why they're important and the different ranges and what does it mean. Because a lot of people get
Right.
their back, they don't even know what it means.
They
Right.
take a tube of blood and they're running almost 30 tests on it. It's
Mm.
go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
So definitely, Jock Nation, let us stop taking things for granted. Let us take our health serious. Let's take our mental health. And for those of you who want to give childbirth, let's take that process serious. Let's go into it at a better way. Let's lose that slave mentality
Come
That's
on.
right.
to
Right.
you know, what we just willy-nilly about everything.
Right. Right.
And we have all of this information available to us. Let's go ahead and dig on in. So thank you.
Take out
Let
control.
me make a couple of announcements, Brother Jack.
Such a wonderful show, sir.
Let me make a couple of announcements.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. For those of you in the local area, please go to your local mosque. Please go to your local mosque and get the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as example and exemplified by the Minister Louis Farrakhan. If you're in the Atlanta area, 19 Joseph Lowry Boulevard, that's the location. And of course, you can also go on the west side at 3642 Camden Road. So please go to your local mosque. That's what I got, Brother Jake.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Jock Nation. Had a beautiful show, a lot of information. Make sure you go back and watch it, and contact our sister for any information. And if that's it, you know, we do it. What we do here, we keep it Messiah. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much.